what they don't teach you is it is a business, and you've chosen a career that is completely independent. There is nobody that you can necessarily follow who has been successful that will share. And so I just said, well, listen, this is what I do. This is what I've done. I'll go on social media. I'll build my, social media from scratch for 9 years, 10 years. I don't have a ton of following, but 15,000, whatever. But the people who are following me are the people who need the education, and they want to know. And the industry that I am in, or was in, especially the film industry, is a lie. It's fake. These people put on other characters, right? They sell you something. This is a story we're telling. We're making a film. It's not reality. I mean, some stuff, sometimes it's real. We're doing a reenactment or whatever, but most of the time it's not real. It's fake. And what goes on behind the scenes of that is very important. How do you set yourself up right? How do you pay your taxes? How do you write things off? How do you handle budgets? How do you spend your money? How do you schedule quality time for yourself, for your family? How do you go on vacation? You're an independent contractor, no worky, no checky. So how do you do all that stuff?
'Cause you're a queen, yeah, you're a queen.
Hey Glow friends, you're listening to the Hey Glow Friend podcast with myself, Angelique Velez. This is a podcast with makeup entrepreneurs who want to be seen and supported on their entrepreneurial journey as makeup artists. With 20 years in the makeup industry, becoming the founder and CEO of Breakups to Makeup, I have learned that vulnerable and honest conversations about this industry is much needed. Let us keep you company with whatever you are enjoying doing today while you listen to this episode, because you don't have to glow alone. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us. I wanted to film an intro on this particular podcast episode, as this episode was actually filmed 2 years ago. So shout out to Melissa Street. Thank you so much for being one of our first guests ever in the Coming in Clutch Club. It was such a special treat having her, you guys. So for this particular episode, the club episodes, just so you're aware, the club calls, I should say, are usually reserved just for the club. So when Melissa came in again 2 years ago, this was a Coming in Clutch Club exclusive call. But being that the information that she gave out and the conversation, that the topics that we talked about were so important, that I wanted to make sure that this was something that was published for the masses as well. She goes into so many great tidbits about her life of being a stroke survivor, things about on-set experience, a lot of things that makeup artists don't really talk about so much. So I wanted to make sure that this is something that everyone can listen to. So just so you're aware, this is normally a club exclusive conversation. So if you were ever curious about the things that we talk about in the club, this will give you a good insight on that. Also, we usually, if we do share anything outside of the club, we usually don't include the question and answer portion from the club members. So as club members, you're able to ask individual questions to our special guests as well. In this particular episode, however, I'm including the first question just because Melissa started talking about mental health aspects that I think are so important, especially even though this was 2 years ago, they resonate so much for us today as well. So I wanted to include that. But Melissa, thank you so much again. Thank you for your bravery, your authenticity, and thank you for having the courage to come on and speak about all the things that you talk about. You're always so transparent, and we love that about you. I have to tell you guys, so Melissa was one of the first guests that we ever had in the Coming in Clutch Club, and she was actually a requested guest. So club members were asking for her specifically to come in. So I was like, I'll see what I could do. So I reached out and we were able to make this conversation happen. And I'm so happy that we did. It was such a beautiful conversation. So I can't wait for you to listen. I would love to hear what you guys think about it. And again, Melissa, thank you so much for everything that you do. And enjoy the episode, you guys. When I shine, you shine, we shine together. All right, so let's get right in. So I would love for those that don't know who you are. Who are you? Can you give us a little insight on your makeup artistry career, a little tidbit, some info?
Sure. My name's Melissa Street, and I've been a film and television makeup artist for about 30 years. Started when I was 18, and I'm 55. And it's been a long journey. It's been a long road. I do lots of different work. I do a lot of independent work, even though I am in the union. I do a lot of mostly independent work, and I do work in corporate video. I work in live event, as well as in film and TV, press, news media, whatever. So I don't do celebrity like it is today, like it is said, I'm a celebrity makeup artist. I wouldn't take that title necessarily. So I don't feel like I work in that capacity, even though I work with others. So, yeah. So that's what I do.
Can you give us a couple of like from your highlight reel, real like highlights of your career that you consider highlights in the past 30 years?
Okay, well, I mean, the one I've done most recently was Top Gun 2, Maverick. So I worked on that set. In the very beginning, I worked on very small independent films. But Walter was a huge highlight of mine. I'm trying to think. I've worked for NBC for 20 years, doing all things like news media, press coverage, breaking news, all that kind of junk. That was very, very challenging. But highlights of my career, I was Michelle Trachtenberg's personal for a while, so she's a huge highlight of my career. Absolutely love working with her. Done different shows with her, and she's a friend now more than she is my actual client. So loved working with her. Just got off a film called Lady, which was with Devin Siddell and Jamie King. So that'll be very fun when that comes out. And yeah, and I had a stroke last year, so I'm a stroke survivor. Woo!
Yes.
Yeah.
Which I definitely want to get into that, because I feel like that's such an important thing for you to talk about, and just let us know how that's been going and how you've been able to continue on with your career with that happening. But it changed. Yeah. Before we get there, though, can I backtrack with what you said? Because I don't even know if you see the comments, but one of the comments is, by celebrity, they actually mean you are the celebrity. So like in our industry, Melissa, I hope you realize that. So it's so funny that you're saying like celebrity makeup artist and you don't consider yourself that, yet you just like rolled off your tongue like all these celebrities.
Well, I mean, honestly, I just don't, I feel like the term celebrity makeup artist is from, say, like social media. It's like a term that was built from social media. And my world, celebrity, there's a difference between being a celebrity and being an actor. So to me, celebrity work is people who are on reality show, or people who kind of, I don't know what type of celebrity they are, but they're more like public people, right? They're not necessarily someone who has studied acting, who has become an actor, who maybe started on Broadway and is now in film, and that kind of thing. It's different. So I don't consider myself that celebrity artist, if you will. Like the Kardashians are not going to sit in my chair. I am not Mario. So right. He does makeup for a very specific people and the way that they like to have makeup done. His aesthetic is much different than mine. Very beautiful, done very well. I make characters. I put makeup on actors who are portraying somebody completely different. So I'm not usually doing it on an actor who's portraying themselves, if you know what I'm saying. So it's that kind of thing, I guess, is the difference to me. I'm old school. I've been around for a million years. I'm like the crypt keeper of makeup artistry. So, it's like, it's just so different. That's an amazing explanation. Thank you, Christina. I appreciate that. So
I was just going to say that was very thorough. I love that explanation.
I figure, listen, artistry is artistry. We all fit into the same world, if you will. I don't care if you mainly do influencing, like on social, or you work, I don't care who you really work for or with, you're a makeup artist, great. Bridal, film, TV, whatever. But there are very specific things that make it somewhat different. And that's one of the things, working with an actor like someone like William H. Macy, who's been, you know, trained by some pretty amazing people in film and on Broadway in live theater, totally different than working with someone who has built their career as an influencer or someone who has built their career as in reality television. Totally, totally different. Doesn't make them any less amazing.
Right.
It's just different. So, you know.
Yeah.
That's
Thank
it.
you. I love that. So I kind of want to get right into it, Melissa, if that's okay, and talk
Oh,
about last year and everything that happened and
yeah.
how you've been maintaining.
Yeah. Okay. For those of you who don't know, I'll just tell you a little bit. I October last year, October 11th, I was sleeping and I woke up and realized that I couldn't move the left half of my body. So the entire left half of my body from my head to my feet was numb, completely numb. I had no ability to move my arm up. I couldn't move my hand. My face drooped. Like I could only speak out of the right side of my face. It was very strange. And I woke my husband up right away. He took me to the hospital right away. I was immediately told in the emergency room that my blood pressure was 225 over 100, which if any of you guys know, your blood pressure is supposed to be in some like normal range of like, you know, like 80 over 75 or, you know, something like that. It's not supposed to go over 100 at all. So it was weird. And I had been sleeping. So they don't know what happened to me that my blood pressure shot up like that when I was asleep, but it did. I was in the ICU. Because I got to the hospital very quickly and because I had the kind of care that I had, I did not suffer being paralyzed, which most people do. I was actually able to get up the next day, which is miraculous to say the least. And physical therapy, occupational therapy, and speech therapy were in my face like immediately, trying to get me up and walking and speaking and doing things that I would normally do. And it was exhausting and it was weird. And I was literally on the stroke floor. I was the only one who was not paralyzed. So I wasn't hooked up to a feeding tube. I wasn't in a wheelchair. I didn't have to worry about any of that, but I still went through occupational therapy. So EKGs and all the other stuff, MRI showed that I had there's two types of strokes. There's a blood clot type stroke. I had a hemorrhagic stroke, which means I had a bleed in my brain, in the right front lobe of my brain. If it would have continued, the brain would have continued bleeding and it probably would have become an aneurysm. So it would have gone from here back into the back. So basically what I was told was, if I would have went back to sleep, I probably would have died. So that's what was told to me. So flash forward 6 months later, and here I am today talking to you guys. It completely 100% changed my life. I had to go through, like I said, this whole physical therapy thing. I didn't realize, I'm a right-handed person, so I didn't realize how much I relied on my left hand or my left shoulder or any of that. It was shocking to find out what I was limited to now. I lost all sense of taste in my mouth. I had to go back and relearn how to slow down my speech and how to pronounce things in a certain way. At 4 months post-stroke, I went back to work, which was a big no-no. I went to finish a film that I had started 2 years prior and was not finished because the director was fired. And when they finally were able to go back and finish it, I wanted to be there for it. And I wound up back in the ER. my blood pressure shot up really high again, even though I was on medication by that time. And the medic was like, you're out. So I've learned a lot about me, who I am, how I handle stress, and how I handle the industry that I'm in. And with that said, it's probably very important for you and your listeners and your people to know I am what I would refer to as being semi-retired. I've gone ahead and decided to retire out of the film work. It's way too stressful for me at this point. And I'm still going through my recovery. There'll be times when you'll be watching me and I'll stumble over words as we're speaking, or I'll repeat myself because I'm not pronouncing my words correctly. I still have issues with the inside of my mouth and the way I speak. So you'll see that. And it's very difficult for me. I have I definitely have brain damage. I have brain scarring. So I still get things like cognitive fog. It's difficult for me to handle a lot of people and a lot of crazy noise that goes on in the backgrounds and things. So on film sets, I'm not the asset I used to be from that situation. People still want to hire me, but I'm just not, it's a big, oh, here's how I say no and why I say no. It just can't happen for me anymore. I have to literally take control and, be like, yeah, no, this isn't the right thing for me anymore. I can do these 1 day, 2 day kind of gigs that require very little of my time, but the more extensive 12-hour, 28 days on a film set, nah, where I'm, developing characters and responsible for running the entire department, responsible for a team. I just can't do it anymore. It's too complicated and it's not good for me. My quality of life is not there. So, I have to say no. My career and my life was force changed, if you will, back in October, and with zero warning, to be honest. So it just happened to me.
Yeah. And
So,
can we pause there just for 1 second? Because I
Mhm.
can't even imagine how did you manage through that, Melissa?
I honestly, I don't really know. I mean, I just, it was funny because my speech therapist said to me, do you have a following on social? And I said, yeah, I do. And she said, if you go on social and tell your story, don't lie. Tell everybody exactly what it was like. So, and I do teach a lot when I've taught about business aspects and not, if you don't need to learn how to do the most perfect red lip from me. What you need to learn how to do is set yourself up right as an independent contractor, so that while you're going through all this craziness of this industry, you won't be stressed out with the business aspects of it. So she said, don't lie, tell people what you're going through. You're going to help someone eventually.
Yes.
And I have had people come back to me and say, since what happened to you, I've been reconsidering how I work. I've been reconsidering how much stress I take on. I went to my doctor. My doctor said, yes, you have high blood pressure. Let's get you on medication. So I've helped some people. It's been a very, I don't know if that's been sort of cathartic for me in a way. I don't know if that's how I've handled it. I've always just been, especially on social, I've been very honest about my position and how I've worked my career and what the industry can do to you. I've been around long enough to see what it's done to other people on film sets, how it's changed the Me Too movement. I mean, I've lived long enough to see it, and what I've done from being a young kid, if you will, from being like 18 years old to being a grown 55-year-old woman who raised kids, who got married, who bought a house, all these things. And somehow I was just like, well, let me talk about it and let me be honest about it. So I guess maybe in a way, I went through therapy. I still am in therapy. But it's been very just be honest and tell people what you've gone through. And I think that's helped me. And I think that's what's gotten me through the last 6 months, to be honest. So
And
Yeah.
we appreciate it. I think, like,
Well,
honestly, the whole point of this club and the reason why I started this was so that we can have those open, honest, vulnerable conversations. And your story in particular, I know I can't even imagine what you're going through, but the fact that you're like coming out and talking about it and vocally saying that you're, oh, like retiring, like
mhm,
getting to that point, and what you're doing, the steps that you took to get there, because
yeah,
no one talks about that. We see
no way.
everyone working to the bone and
Yeah,
still working through the
yep,
things that they're going through, and no one talks about setting yourself up for retirement. How can you even buy a home as a makeup artist? Like all those things that we don't know about because no one
right,
talks about them.
right, 100%. Well, nobody helps anyone you just, listen, makeup is fun, and makeup can be glamorous. Makeup is, if you enjoy the process of doing your own makeup, you probably enjoy makeup, period. So this little product right here can bring you joy and is neat and you like it and you want to try brands and you want to, look at the packaging and ooh and ah and everything. And that's what got me too, you know. But what they don't teach you is it is a business and you've chosen a career that is completely independent. There is nobody that you can necessarily follow who has been successful that will share. And so I just said, well, listen, this is what I do. This is what I've done. I'll go on social media. I'll build my, social media from scratch for 9 years, 10 years. I don't have a ton of following, but 15,000, whatever. But the people who are following me are the people who need the education and they want to know. And the industry that I am in or was in, especially the film industry, is a lie. It's fake. These people put on other characters, right? They sell you something. This is a story we're telling. We're making a film. It's not reality. I mean, some stuff, sometimes it's real. We're doing a reenactment or whatever, but most of the time it's not real. It's fake. And what goes on behind the scenes of that is very important. How do you set yourself up right? How do you pay your taxes? How do you write things off? How do you handle budgets? How do you spend your money? How do you schedule quality time for yourself, for your family? How do you go on vacation? You're an independent contractor, no worky, no checky. So how do you do all that stuff? I once heard a very, very successful Academy Award winning artist say to an audience that if you want to be in the film industry, don't get married and don't have kids. Mm. And I thought, you can't tell people that. They can, you can totally do whatever you want to do. You're in control of your own career. It's how you handle it. It's what you decide and what you choose to put, where you choose to put your time, where you choose to spend it. You can totally do and be a film artist and still raise your children. However, you're going to compromise a lot of things. Right. It's compromising. And you have to say no to things. You're going to have to say, no, I can't do that film because I'm going on vacation with my family or whatever. It's something, it's just business. It's a business that you're in charge of. And you can say yes or no. You do have a choice to do that. I was so distraught because I had looked up to this artist for so long. And I was like, I can't believe you said that, because I'm sitting in this audience with 2 kids. I have 2 children and a husband and a home, and somehow I've done it. Right. So why are you telling these people that it's not possible for them to make that choice? Yeah. If you want to be a mom, sorry, you can't. You have to be a makeup artist or a mother. What? Yeah. You can't tell people that. That's a lie. That's not true. Yep. You can tell them you'll have to make choices and hard choices, but you can't say that you can't do something and still have a career, yeah, Melissa, watch me. Yeah. Well, I mean, you just can't tell me that, yeah. There's so many other facets too of artistry, so many others. I mean, bridal is one, right? Mm-hmm. Runway, commercial photography, right? I mean, fashion, film, TV, industrial, corporate video, music video. There's so many aspects. personal makeup artistry where you're actually teaching the public, selling, there's retail, there's so many, and now there's social media, right? There's influencing, there's so many other aspects now of artistry that you can be whatever type of artist you want to be, and you can have a life, a quality of life. You just have to demand it, and you have to decide. You have to make the choice. So
I
you got to
agree.
do it, and you
Yeah.
have to take care of yourself. And that's what nobody teaches. That's what nobody sits down and teaches you. So, and nobody validates you. Yes, you have a choice. Yes,
Yeah.
you do.
No, I
One,
remember when I got pregnant with my son, it was right before I got into the union.
mhm.
Or was I? Yes. So I actually hid my belly bump when I went for my interview because I
Oh
didn't
my
want
God.
anyone to know that I was pregnant. And then I wound up getting in and I got into the union, the local 798. And then my first couple months on set, I was hiding my bump the entire time. I didn't want anyone to know because I didn't want them to not call me or to think that I couldn't do my job correctly.
Oh
And I
my
remember
God.
a hairstylist finally, he called me, he was like, Angelique, and he's like, pregnant, aren't you? And I was like, yes, but shh. And he's like, it's okay. I'm like, but I want them to still call me. So, but it's crazy. And that's still happening, Melissa. And that was, I think, 10 years ago. And it's
Yeah.
still happening.
Yeah. And you know what? Just to be honest with you too, you not divulging that you are pregnant actually puts that production into a situation. If something happened to you
Yeah.
on that set and they didn't know that you were pregnant, and God forbid something had happened, that you're a liability.
Yeah.
They could still hire you knowing you're pregnant. I mean, I got hired knowing I had a disability, but do I become a liability? I do.
Yeah.
If they want to take that risk, that's up to them, you know. Um, and I've known loads of makeup artists who work pregnant, loads,
Right.
and it's okay. It's just, you know, it's the production. They can't really say no to you. It's actually illegal for them to do that,
Yeah.
Um, they can't, say, oh, well, we can't hire her because she's pregnant or she's a liability. All right. Excuse me. Like they can't do that. So it's a societal stigma that creates. I literally, you guys, I mean, I think what is the most important for you guys to know is that your career can be whatever you want it to be, and your quality of life can too. You just have to realize that this is a career. Will you be passed over for certain things? Sure. Will you say no for certain things? Absolutely. But aren't you saying them for the right reasons? Aren't you being passed over for the right reasons, maybe? I mean, think about it that way. you know Things that I was passed over for, things that I said no to, always turned out to be the right decision. They really did. Because something else would come up, or I was able to spend more time with my kids or my husband, or go on that trip that I didn't think I was going to be able to go on. It always turned out to be the right choice. So I have very little regrets in my career. Right now I'm coming from a lot of very satisfaction energy. I've done a lot of work that I'm very proud of. I've worked with a lot of people that I've maintained relationships with and built relationships with. I'm very proud of that. So I have zero regrets. So if it's a natural time in my life after 30 plus years, if I was in any other industry, I'd be like, golden handshake, out you go. You're old. We need to bring in some new blood, right? So it's a natural progression as an artist, as I get older, to start thinking about doing something different. I don't want to be on set for 14 hours. Are you kidding me? Oh my God, I can think of so many more things I'd love to do in 14 hours than sit on a set, freezing my ass off, eating crappy food, whatever else, dealing with God knows what personalities at this point. I can think of a ton of other things I'd rather do. So, and I can naturally look for other avenues if I want to continue some type of artistry or some type of teaching. It's just natural. It's a natural progression. I don't have to be on a set at 60, killing myself trying to figure out, well, I have a cane now. Oh, and some oxygen. How do I get that to set? Sitting, I'm like, nah, I'm good. I don't need to do I don't need to do that. I set myself up the right way. I took care of my money. I watched my money. And I naturally have a partner. Obviously, I have a husband who also brings in income. I know a lot of people are not there yet, or if they'll ever be there. There's a lot of single parents out there who are trying to get it done in this industry. Very difficult. Can be done, but very, very difficult also. I have a lot of family who is there for me and who has been there for me in the past. It's just, you have to take control, and you have to say no to things that are not right for you, but you have to know what's not right for you. You have to know what your priorities are. If your family and your kids are your number one priority, well, then there's going to be the number two priority, which is career, that you're going to say no to at some point. It just has to, it's just natural. And as you progress, you'll naturally fade into something different as you retire out of what you've made your main bread and butter. It just will happen, and be grateful for that. I'm actually grateful that I had my stroke, to be honest, because it literally made me think of what is most important for the next aspect of my life, and that I am okay with saying, I've done enough. I've done what I've wanted to do. I can naturally go now and do other things. Can I go to these like corporate video jobs and stuff like that? Yeah, because it's one day of my life.
Right.
And I'm not sitting there, prepping for 7 days prior to going onto a set. I'm just showing up. I'm making somebody feel really good in front of camera. I'm doing my job. I'm getting paid. I'm going away, and I can go do something else tomorrow if I want to. But I set myself up financially for that. So another thing that I don't think a lot of people understand. So, and we're marketed to every 2 seconds. You must get this, you must get that, you must buy this, you must buy that. It's like, and we're the only people on a crew that's entire kit goes bad. You eventually will replace every single solitary piece in your makeup kit because it will go bad or you will use it. No other crew member ever has to do that, ever, unless technology is something they want to up the game on. You know what I mean?
Right.
We have to, or we will cause illness or disease, or you know what I'm saying? Yeah, nobody else has to do that. So get your kit fees, because nobody else has to do that, literally, yeah, anyway, I'm rambling on. But
no, I love it. I love it. Can you tell us how you set yourself up that way financially, or give us some tips? Again, no one talks about this. So even me, I'm like, ooh, let me listen in. Like,
okay. So I think that, my number one tip is, if you are getting into this industry, to make sure that you research in the state that you're in, what is necessary legally to be an independent contractor. Okay. Is it that you need to have a business license? I think my advice to you is, at the very least, you register in your state as a business, period. Call yourself whatever you're going to call yourself, and go register yourself as a business. It's important. I don't know if in your state as a makeup artist, you also have to be an esthetician. I don't know that. In the state of California, you don't need that. But if you do, you need to take care of that. But at the very least, you should have a business license. Then you take that business license, because you are a business, you go set up a business bank account. Why do you want to do that? Because when people pay you, that money is going to go into a business bank account and not your personal bank account. Your personal bank account is different. You're a business. and you want to be able to write things off. You can't write things off if you're depositing checks into your personal bank account. Guess who don't like that? The IRS. They don't like that. Okay. So, and they will be more than happy to crawl up your hoo-hoo and give you a little audit because of that. Okay. So you want to understand about tax laws, obviously, in your state. You want to set up a business bank account. You want to have a little bit of a business license. Maybe you have a separate credit card for your business that you're charging things on and writing them off. You want to be very aware of what you can write off and what you can't write off. You know, that kind of thing. You want to understand that if you're opening up a brick and mortar, if you're doing it within your house, what that entails, what kind of write-off that is, or if you're having a business outside of another, you know, outside of your home, what does that entail? You want to look at insurances. You want to see if you can get kit insurance, renters insurances, all of that stuff. You have to go through the motions of all of that. As I grew as a business, I eventually became an S corporation, which in the state of California means that I employ people. And laws and things have changed over the time. So we've had some very strange laws come into effect here that has affected how I pay people. So now I pay people when they work for me. I have to pay them through a payroll system. I can't just pay them through my business. I actually have to employ a payroll system, which raised everything 17%. And then when people work for you, hello, bridal makeup artists, I'm specifically talking to you. When people work for you and you pay them, how are you paying them? Are you paying them from your business bank account? Are you paying them from your personal bank account? IRS don't like that either. So make sure that you look at that. And are you providing them with workman's compensation? Are you providing them with all the time off that they need? Are you laying them off properly because you're only hiring them for certain periods of time? You've got to be aware of what your state requirements are. Period. In my state in California, I have to provide everybody with workman's compensation. I have to carry a $2 million liability insurance policy. I absolutely have to. If somebody falls down on a set, they're working for me and I am paying them, I'm responsible. Absolutely. They are my employee, not the employee of the production. And I have to make that known because the production is hiring me and my company. If I'm bringing somebody else, and I'm paying that person, they're my employee, not that production. So production doesn't talk to my employee. I talk to my employee. You don't tell my employee what to do. I tell my employee what to do. So it's different. It's a lot different. But over time, because that started happening to me and I built Epic and I built a team of like 8 people at one point. I had so much work. I was triple booking, quadruple booking, and people were going and filling in for me in certain places. I was working on one set, somebody else was working on another set. I had to manage that. So my natural progression from just having the simple business license to having an S corporation flowed, but it got really expensive.
Yeah. It
ain't cheap. You know, I think a business license runs you like $50 a year or something like that. Okay, I can handle that. But I wasn't hiring people to work with me. You know, so it was totally different. Naturally, over the course of time, things progressed. My husband and I opened a production company, totally different story. So we had to up the game and we had to do it the right way so that we were responsible business owners. You know, so that's my number one tip for you is to research what happens in your state legally. Look at the labor clauses. What is labor in your area? What does that mean? What is the labor laws in your state? Know that, because production will come in and try to take advantage of that as well. What are you can research what the average makeup artist makes in your area now, because the Internal Revenue Service will post what an average artist claimed on their taxes. So you will know. So you can kind of say, there's enough of us now that work in all the others. You can literally Google in my state of, Tennessee, what is the average rate per hour that a makeup artist makes? And someone will have claimed on their taxes X amount of money, which makes, X amount per hour. So you'll know. So when you're ready to raise your rate or you're ready to establish your rate, you'll understand where that is within reason, so that you're making the right amount of money, and you're not undercutting yourself or undercutting others. You'll understand, if it's $50, $60, $70 an hour, whatever it is, you'll understand what that means for a day, won't you? So really important that you do that. File your taxes, understand what you can write off. I can't emphasize that enough. Another tip, which I did a long time ago, which everybody's like, why do you only ever post what's on your makeup table? Okay, the number one reason I post what's on Mel's table is for the IRS. Because when I go to write something off, there is a time-stamped photo out on the web that shows you, I have this product, it's on this makeup table, I'm using it on this day, it's a write-off. I did not buy that for my own personal use. I bought that for production. There is a record of it. It's right there. If you won't accept my receipt, you won't accept what I've written on the back, then here it is, posted forever on the cloud. What's on Mel's makeup table, what's in Mel's kit, my hashtags, very important when I do social media. And I think that has very much helped in, I never get questioned what I'm using. It has very little to do with the social media for brands. Will a brand give me gratis? A brand will give me gratis with who I'm working for, not the fact that my social media has 15,000 followers. That's nothing to them. They don't care anything about that. They want me to have 1 million followers for them to be able to use that for marketing. Okay. But for me, it's more about, here's my proof. Sometimes I take pictures of the back of my car if I'm using my bags, right? Like I did the other day and posted it.
Recently. Yeah.
Here's my reel. Wasn't that fun? Let's throw some music back there. But why is that there specifically? Why is that there? Because in my business world, I bought all that stuff. I'm using it. I'm writing it off. I'm still using it, whatever it is. And it shows. It's a literally like a video or picture, like, how people want everything in writing because you're making that paper trail. This is a photograph and obvious video evidence that I am actually on set working, and here's what I'm using. So there you go.
So smart.
You have to be smart. You have to be smart. You're in business for yourself.
Yeah. No
one is going to take you aside and be like, hey, you should do this, you should do that, you should do this, you should do that. You need to be, and use it to your advantage, use the social media to your advantage, but whatever monetary, I can't see all of your comments. I'm so sorry, but I will definitely take questions whenever you guys are ready for any of this stuff.
Yeah. I would love to ask one more question, and then we'll open it up for questions if that's okay. And I know we're jumping around, but we have so much to ask you. So boundary wise, so I know with everything you went through in October, your boundaries have changed now, and I'm sure you were already setting boundaries before, but now I'm assuming they're even you said it's more intense, like you're saying no even more so. How do you do it, Melissa? How do you do it?
Well, here's how I do it. It has very little to do with money these days. I am very fortunate that I made enough money. I was smart with my money that at this juncture in my career, which I think it's very important for people, for anyone who's listening, watching, whatever, to know, not only did I build a successful industry, the most thing I'm very proud of in my life, and because of how I worked my business, is I am able to, or was able to, put both of my children through college debt-free for them and debt-free for me. I took out 0 loans for that. My husband and I, yes, and I am married. So my husband and I together, with my income, his income, and we owned a house, I was able to actually do that for my kids. My kids now at 28 and 30 are very aware of, they don't have any debt, college debt. All of their friends do.
Right.
They don't. Huge, huge thing for them, setting them up right so that they can go out and do their careers and not have to worry about paying back the government. Okay, so that's one of the things that I am very, very proud of. Boundary wise, I say no when any red flags come up for me. And red flags can be anything like, I need a makeup artist 2 weeks from now. Like, just for instance, like they don't know anything. They don't explain to me via email what they're actually doing, how much of my time they need, if they have a budget at all. Like, I have to come back with the barrage of questions like, who are you, by the way? Like, what business is this? What exactly are we filming? Where are we filming? How many people are involved? You know, like, if I have to come back with a barrage of questions, red flag number one to me. Like, I don't like that, because that means I'm dealing with someone who has no idea what they're doing or what I do. Okay, so they think I'm just going to make somebody look good on camera, but they are not aware of everything else that has to happen prior to the actual day we're filming. And so that's a red flag. If I have to send the second email asking all the questions and they don't want to answer those questions, red flag number two. Why are you being so secretive? Why is it, really, what's going on? I mean, what are you doing exactly? Come on now. So the boundaries are set where, especially now, if I don't know what's happening or people that I'm working for or with, I usually pass it on. I'll pass it on to somebody. I'll do some of the initial, investigating so that I realize that it's actually a real job with real pay. And then I'll pass it on to someone on my team. But they don't get my time. I just don't, I just can't tolerate it. If it's taking me days to get information about something that's going to be filming, there's something wrong. So boundaries for me are that. I also don't allow producers any longer to tell me what is okay for me to do, normal things for me to do on set. You cannot tell me I come in at 8 o'clock in the morning and then I have my lunch break at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Not happening. I don't do that. You're not going to keep me on for 7 hours and neglect my rights to have a 10-minute break, have a 30-minute break, have food, go to the bathroom when I want to. You're not going to do that. I literally run my department and I'm going to do what I'm going to do when I'm going to do it. I know what's right. And I don't care what you're filming. You're not filming anything that's so important that I have to get, a urinary tract infection for it. I don't care. If you have to wait for me to come out of a restroom, properly clean my hands, and then go onto set and touch somebody up, then you're going to wait. And I'm sorry, you are. If you want to try to find somebody to replace me because I have those requirements, those boundaries, fine. I think you're whack for wanting to do something like that, but okay. I was just on live on Instagram and somebody said that they were told by a producer that the producer literally said, I love crew members who are team members. And I was like, team what? What cult did I just sign up for? Where's my t-shirt? Where's my swag bag? What MLM did I just sign up for? Team members? I'm a crew person with a very specific, specialized talent. I'm not on your team. I'm not team. So I'm sorry. That'll be no. Okay. I'm going to do my job. You want me to work through lunch because I'm a team member? No. Nope. That's not what we're playing at here. And that's not okay. And labor wise, it's really not okay. They're breaking the law. So boundaries, yeah, I have them. I have big boundaries. But one of the things that I have that I think a lot of people don't is I have a long time on set. So I have a confidence, like most of the people who I work for, including producers, are way younger than me, way younger than me. So if you think you're going to get one up on me, or that you're smarter than me, or you've been around longer than me, I guarantee you no. Okay, so you're not going to get one up on me. I don't do working lunches. I don't care what you're filming. You're not filming anything that's more important than me putting food in my body when it's time.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. So it's not fair, and it's illegal on top of it all. And you want someone that you can control, and I'm not going to allow you to control me like that. It's absolutely not okay. So I have the confidence to have those really hardcore conversations where a lot of people they don't want to rock the boat. Maybe they'll get blacklisted, well, I'm fine, blacklist me. You're going to blacklist me for taking something that is my right? Oh, we have a problem.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you have a bigger problem than me not being able to eat right now because of your perception of what you're asking all of these people to do.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. You have a big, big problem, and you're also operating illegally.
Yes.
Big problem.
Absolutely.
Big, big, big problem. So yeah, I hope our industry changes in that respect.
Yeah.
Who knows? I mean, there's a lot of, with the strikes and stuff that are potentially coming up. I don't know, but literally whoever's signing these contracts, you need a backbone. You need to go to work for these people,
Yes.
to fight for these people who are just trying to get home and tuck their kids into bed at night. They're not trying to not believe in your project or your film or whatever. They're trying to say goodnight and kiss their kids. I mean, come on, and we're in the digital age. We're in 2023. There's no reason to work people like that. There's literally no reason to work people like that. That is inhumane. So, if you don't have a voice, or if you don't feel you have a voice, I think that's what makes it different for me with setting up my boundaries. I just won't tolerate it anymore. The stroke has helped. My filter is gone 150%.
Right.
But yeah, I think that's just what it is. You got to claim your right boundary, and you got to stick with it. And you have to know what's right and what's wrong in what you're asking. You know what I mean? Like, have your power there and be able to say, I'm making this right choice because blah, blah, blah. I know that this is not acceptable. So,
Melissa,
you're
thank
welcome.
you so much. I'm going to open up for questions, but before I do, and you guys can turn your cameras on, I just want to say, just from me to you, thank you so much for opening up and for being that voice. And please continue to do so, because I feel like the only way we're going to make that change is for people like you to talk about it. Like, I learned so much just in this conversation. Like, I didn't realize that I could employ people on union sets. I didn't know that I could have like my own business
If you're
and then have employees under me with some sets.
Yeah, if you're brought on that way, for sure. I mean, if you're a loan out and they're going to hire Epic Makeup and you'll say you'll provide, but I mean, if it's an employee situation where they want people on their bond and they want you to payroll, different, right? But you're on an independent situation and they're saying, hey, do you have an assistant? And if you're saying, yeah, I do you want me to pay them, or do you want to pay them? And they say, well, wait a minute, what do you pay? You can set yourself up as a loan out very easily. The difference is that you need to make sure that you're getting your reimbursement, because that's a hardcore thing, because you're going to be waiting however long you're waiting for reimbursement from what you've paid them. So I usually do that on corporate, or I do that on big live events. I've done it in television too, like at NBC, I've done it. In film, I won't do it, because film, they're able to get paid weekly. And I feel like that's better for them.
Okay, understood. That makes sense then. Okay.
So unless it's an independent feature film where they're not really setting up, they're like handwriting you checks and stuff, because the God knows what happens. Red flag, by the way. But big red flag number 5, handwriting me a check. Okay, so don't have an LLC. We have a problem. Anyway, so just do it more on, I mean, bridal artists, I totally recommend that they do that. I recommend you set yourself up the right way for that, because God knows if you are hiring people to do brides for you, or do the bridesmaids and things like that, and you're being responsible for paying them, so the bride is paying you specifically. If you're not paying them from an actual account, like a business account,
Yeah.
oh God, you're just, I mean, I know you need to figure out how to set yourself up right for that.
Yeah.
Seriously. Because writing them a check from your personal bank account is not okay. They're performing the same kind of job duty that you do, and that does not come from a personal bank account. Okay, so yikes. All right. But yeah, make sure that you're looking it up as what loan out, and specifically, you want to look at, if you're going to do the payroll situation, you want to look at what you have to provide as far as to the state for workman's comp and or insurance and things like that. It's very expensive. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
17, it raised my rates by 17%, because I ain't paying for that.
No, you shouldn't.
So,
yeah.
and my clients went, what? And I'm like, well, hey, if you don't want to take the time in your accounting department to bring on my assistant and put them through writing them a check, you want me to handle it, and then me wait 30 days to be reimbursed by you, well, then it costs more money. It costs more money to do that.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, it costs me money. I have to have a whole bunch of money sitting in a reserved bank account so that I can pay my employees.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me right now? Yeah. Hello.
Yeah.
You know, seriously. Yeah. I don't get to sit and wait for 30 days to pay them so that I can collect more money, you know, from you know, the bank or whatever. You know, it's like, you got to be kidding me right now. I have to pay them within a 2-week period of time.
Right.
You still haven't reimbursed me. So, you know, yeah, there's a lot of business that needs to be done as an independent contractor that I don't think anybody realizes has to be done.
Yeah.
So, and don't get me started on the 1099 process and all that kind of stuff. So
a whole nother conversation, right?
whole nother conversation. So anyway.
Thank you guys. Let's open it up, because I know you have questions for her. So please feel free, unmute yourselves, put your cameras on, and we'll start the questions. But I want to be very mindful of your time too, Melissa. So please let me know.
Well, I was late coming on here, so I'm
Okay.
super just hanging out and asking, you know, answering the questions. So go for it.
Awesome. All right, who's up first?
They're all quiet. They're all like villains.
I know someone has to have a question.
There was a lot of comments that flew around, so I'm sure.
Yes,
I mean,
you know what? I'll scroll up to Alice. Go ahead, and I'll scroll up in the chat.
Hi, Melissa. So
Hey.
excited to see you. I just wanted to say hi, really. I don't have any questions, but
go ahead.
I'm just, thank you so much for sharing. I mean, I know you and I were talking about stuff for B3, and then I knew you were really busy, but I had no idea
that I had a stroke.
Yes, like so much is happening. And I mean, these are things that we don't typically share. So thank you so much for opening up to us and letting us know. And I think many of us in this, you know, I'm not, you probably know most of us here, but a lot of us in this group are going through similar, like maybe not as life-threatening as what you went through, but a lot of us are going through these big life decisions right now, which is why we're here. And it's so amazing to know that we're not alone in our little bubble.
Definitely not.
And I mean, you know, but you don't know, you know, like when people don't talk about it, it's hard. It's hard to not feel alone.
Everyone's going through something, you know, it doesn't matter. And mental health right now is so incredibly important. That is another thing that my stroke brought to me is, you know, I have massive anxiety. Now I have PTSD and anxiety. And, you know, you have to do what's right for yourself, and you have to make enough money to handle your PTSD and your anxiety, and maybe get the therapy that you need, maybe get the medication that you need, whatever it is. As an independent contractor, it's hard to do that, right? But, and everyone has it. I mean, I work for people, oh my gosh, I mean, you just know everyone's going through something. Everyone is risking something in their lives, just stepping outside these days, right? I mean, it's rough. We live in a weird time.
Yes.
And if it wasn't for my kids being in the generation that my children are in, and making it very okay to talk about mental health, mental illness, whatever it is, you can thrive in life, regardless of what it is that you choose, and still have anxieties, mental illness, whatever it is. You just have to take the proper steps in order for you to be able to continue to be successful at what it is you want to do. And you have to, and you should talk about it. I mean, you really should. It helps therapeutically. To me, stigma is, if you're embarrassed by it, no, we're done now. We're done now. Everybody in the boomer generation, before my generation, before Gen X, believe me, they gave it to us. Okay. It came from somewhere.
Yes.
All right. So it's not like it just all of a sudden happened because you drank the water, so it came from somewhere genetically. All right.
Yes.
So it's time to just be okay with it and know that, you take care of your business, take care of your health, get what you need, and keep moving on, keep moving forward in it. If you're not a people person, it's okay. I've discovered I am very much an introvert. I don't actually like lots of people. I don't like being in things, of all things, right? Here, go on a set with 100 people. I come home and I shut down. I shut down when they say wrap. I'm immediately shut down. I'm like, I don't care. I don't care. I don't want to know. I don't want, I'm in my car. I'm driving silently the 45 minutes to an hour home. I'm silent. I don't turn on the TV later on. I eat my food. I just want to sleep. I'm literally like, give me my weighted blanket. Where's my dog? I don't want to talk or be social with anyone, because my brain is over dealing with 100 different personalities and people who have things that they're going through. I'm done, and I've been in service to actors. Okay. And I'm good now. It's time for me to be in service to me now. I'm good. I'm going to shut down. I'm going to claim what I need to get through the rest of my day. And I'll do it again tomorrow. It's going to be there for me tomorrow, but I'm shutting down now, and I'm not going to be embarrassed by it. Absolutely no way. But the stroke, when I had the stroke, it was super evident that I'm an introvert. I'm a massive, massive introvert. My stroke exacerbated, it was hard for me in my brain to listen to someone who was talking here, talking to someone over here, who are all these other people were having conversations behind me. I was like it was too much for me. And I went, my God, people who have suffered with cognitive issues in their brain like that, or ADHD or whatever it is, I feel you now. I 100% go, damn, I need you to look at me and just talk to me about what you need. All the rest of you people need to be quiet for 2 seconds, because I cannot process what the hell is going on in this space. It's crazy, but it made me way more appreciative of other people and tolerant of other people, wow. And the brain and the body are amazing. So understand that you're amazing, that you're actually able to get up and function and go do things every day. And you've chosen this crazy ass business, and that you're functioning and you're doing it. Now figure out how to make it more successful for yourself, you know, and don't be ashamed. Everyone has something. Everyone. So true. You know what I mean? So that's that. That's all the advice I can give on that kind of thing. But it's good to see your face, sweetheart. I hope you're well.
You know, just chugging along as per usual.
Yeah, I feel you. Doing your thing.
Yep.
Keeping your chin up. I love it. All right.
Definitely. Holding up my chin with both hands, you know.
Hey, whatever. You can tie a strap to the friggin'
Yes,
ceiling.
tie a strap to the ceiling.
Whatever you need to do, man. Whatever you need to do, but be proud, you know, because seriously, in this day and age, yeah, you got up, you showered, you brushed your teeth. You get
Exactly.
for
It's
sure.
such a big accomplishment.
I'm
I
telling
left the house. You know?
you, check some stuff off of a to-do list.
Yes.
I think that's good. I think that's nice. And if you're tired, then go take a nap. You know, you've done
Yes.
today, good, great.
Nap time, right?
No. All you got's your health, my loves. To be honest, that's it. That's all you got. So absolutely. Yeah. Ooh, now we're getting deep.
I know.
Yeah.
No, I love it. Thank you, Melissa.
Yeah.
This was so fantastic. Thank you
Oh, you're
so
welcome.
much. And this
You're
is not the last you'll be hearing from us. Don't worry, especially me. I'll be
Hey.
messaging you soon. But this
Happy.
is exactly what this space is for. So
Mhm.
thank you for coming and bringing all that vulnerability and just getting open with us, because this is what we
Welcome.
need.
You're welcome. I'm happy to be here for you. Very happy to be here. It is. I feel needed. So thank you very much for letting me feel that way. I appreciate it. You're welcome, Cassie. I appreciate it. You're welcome. All right, you guys will go out and have
And thank you. Stayed with us for like hours. So thank you again. Enjoy the rest of your day.
I will. Bye, Alice. It was good to see you too, honey. Take care. All right, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.